Hi, welcome to XReality Weekly News Podcast. So, team, do you have anything to share?
Yeah, from the XR space, I want to start with the app Scenery that launched this week. It's a content creator app, similar to Adobe Aero. This allows users who don't know how to write code to create XR experiences. And this really helps jump one of the obstacles to adoption of XR is the amount of content that's out there. And I think access to tools and access to the ability to create content is really important. Scenery will provide tools to create a spatial editor so you can create immersive experiences without any coding. It's professional grade, so it's really, really good cross-platform, so it goes Mac, Vision Pro, iOS. Also allows you to integrate models that you may have and other content into a spatial experience. This provides everybody the ability to start generating spatial experiences to share with other people, and we can start to see how people are creative and what they create with it. I did download the app, logged in, and kind of started to play around with it a little bit. There's two different pricing models. Kind of one is a pro and one's enterprise, so it gives up some opportunities to manage those different types of subscriptions, and anybody can start creating. So go to the Mac store and you can download that today and get started on building spatial applications with or experiences with scenery. Anything to add to that, Dom, about creating content?
Yeah, for this one, is this WebXR or more like a standalone experience? Like for
Oh, so
example,
it's standalone experience, and it will get launched through app clips on iOS devices, and is also uses the Vision OS spatial library.
interesting, because I think for Vision Pro, they have their own ecosystem, and the cross platform is more like iOS or Mac system centered, right? So yeah, I mean, if you use Xcode, you can create Vision Pro experience, and if you use this one, you can create more like I would say no code friendly. Yeah, if you use like a Xcode, you can do more. And also you can use like a Unity to create like a Vision Pro or any other uh, like a device. So I think this one definitely um, yeah, like helps out with like a Apple system. I remember this morning I read a news that people said that Apple, I don't know, it's a conceptual or it's an official release, but it's Apple, like the glass looks like a Ray-Ban, and
Oh
then
wow.
they have like some visual stuff. I don't know, is that it's on my LinkedIn post. I don't know whether that is true or not, but I think everybody's vision is pretty much the same. You wear like a really nice glass, and I saw one interesting scenarios for like this like a Ray-Ban like glass, but putting on the for example, like when you order food in like a for example, this is Ray-Ban and the generation second. So there's like they recently just launched like a live translation, so you can hear some other language, and there's like you can toggle to the live translation, and you can talk to the English, translate to English. And I think it's a Chinese startup. So there's like a two, like a screens, small
Mm-hmm.
one, and it will
Projections.
show show the translation. So for example, if somebody go to Japan and wanna order a drink or something, and they don't know what to do, and they provide that types of the translation class,
Sure.
and you just and the staff will wear as well. So you speak your language, and you will hear other language, but in translation in your language. So two of them wear the glass. I've already seen this types of technology got used. So I think yeah, for Apple, this will be really handy because not everybody knows how to code, right? And so, for example, staff in like a boba or like in other kind of like they have like their own shop. They can design, or they can design their own menu, right? And there's a auto translation or something, some visualization to show. I think those are yeah, great invention. Yeah.
Yeah, all of the tools to help people create stuff. I've even been seeing 3D modeling creating tools, Meshy and Trellis. The more tools that are available for people to create, the more things that'll get created. I do want to point out that Scenery uses USD files to kind of keep that open architecture and the ability to catch up and keep with all of the changing, as you said, changing hardware that's coming out today.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that like a Vision Pro will open up more like a iOS centered, and Android or Meta, they will open more like a more. I would say it's actually more open. So it's interesting to see, and we want more player to join. So the price and quality price will go down, quality will go high, and more people can adapt. So definitely love to see more creation tools being invented.
Awesome. Switching gears, I want to talk a little bit about Google and their Google XR, Android XR, allowing camera access like on phones. This gives the ability for engineers and developers to tap into that camera feed to do some interesting things. So you can do context awareness, understand the room that you're in or the environment that you're in, and also do object detection. So start to understand what individual things are. Then you can really power some AI driven interactions of, where did I think the commercial of where did I leave my notebook, and it knows in the room where you left your notebook because it saw it sitting on your desk. Those types of interactions become possible. Also danger, like, danger detection or safety detection, things like that become really interesting use cases. It also increases just more powerful scene analysis. So it really bring that context of the scene into what you're doing. There are some challenges with that, clearly. One of the reasons why Apple Vision Pro doesn't allow that is for privacy concerns. So we need to start thinking about how we're going to use that data, how we protect that data, how we store that data, and keep it safe. But there are a lot of things that can be unlocked when the camera context is available to the user.
Yeah, I totally agree. And later on, I will share the news. I mean, it's pretty much a summary of kind of like a what's Paris AI action, what's going on, and people or like the journalists, like the news, a lot of people start feeling a little not really happy about. They are not really addressing to what you said, that the privacy issue and data security issue. So yeah, I mean, later on I will share. It's pretty much how like the government or European or Europe or we're trying to said that we want to lead the AI development, and the president of French he allocated tons of money to do a lot of cool stuff. And JD Vance was saying like no regulation, we have too much regulation, let's just no regulation, so AI can quickly be deployed. I think, yeah, I mean, I know it's politics, but I think the new governor, when they become, we start switching the new one, I think everything just goes so fast, which is good. But I feel like sometimes something needs to take some time to think, right? So it's good because if you go to Doge, like at the website, it's so good that they show you like how many people are redundant, and they how much money they waste, and also the project that is redundant. But I think before cutting it, it just cuts so fast. And if you do something that is too fast and people's mind is not very slow to change, it causes misunderstanding, even though it's very transparent, right? For me, I saw it, I feel hurt. It's like, wow, a lot of people will lose job. But when I saw it, I think it's kind of makes sense. So I kind of 50% accept. But I know that if people's job got affected, I think it might take more time, or just Yeah, I don't know. But Doge only have like 3 months to, or like 180 days to do things. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm still it's just so fast. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with all I think the point is it's hard to keep up with all the changing technology and regulations and understanding what needs to be, but it's important to really protect the users and kind of protect their data as we go forward.
Have you heard of something called self data governance, which means that you own your own data, and if other device or company wants it, you open it. But later on, if you don't want them to get it, you can close it and retrieve the data. Something like that. Your data, your own governance. But my argument is that I remember when I want my medical record from other hospital. And my doctor just said that, sorry, we couldn't give to you. You need to ask another institution to request. We
Yeah.
couldn't give to you for your data privacy. I was like, hey, that's my data. Why you couldn't give to me and say it's for the sake of protect my data? I,
Yep.
I, I am not an enemy of my own data. And they
Sure.
think I will take my data and do something bad. So it's a very weird conception, like a perception that in hospital settings, doctor doesn't trust us to own our own data. And how about the future of data governance? I don't know. Can I own my own medical record? Because I am the only person who care about
Yeah.
myself. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, then there's a lot of interesting things around that, like who gets access to it, and if you were in an accident, you were unconscious, how could you unlock that? Those are again, data privacy and making the best case for the user, I think, is super important.
Yeah.
Switching gears a little bit, I'm going to talk about Civilization 7, the strategy game coming to the MetaQuest 3 platform. And why that's really such a big deal is because this is the first partnership between a major strategy game and the Quest platform, and are selecting that kind of as the way to deliver their game to more people. So it
Yeah.
also adds kind of a lot of I'll say validity or credibility to the Quest 3 platform as a gaming platform now that it's going to have this new strategy and new genre that's kind of opened up. It's going to be a new benchmark for the types of games that can be done. It's also provides the ability to do competitive multiplayer in VR. I think we talked last week about how important collaborative play and multiplayer is with respect to creating a larger audience, because if there's more than one person in the experience, then you have more people playing. So that's a good, and it also makes it more realistic and fun and social, and it can keep people invested longer. There's more of an enticing factor when you have multiplayer. So I really like to see this change. It's not released yet. It's going to come spring 2025. It has not been the final date has not been released yet, but it's going to be an interesting new title that's available in the Quest 3 platform.
Yeah, when I first saw this being shared through like Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook, I follow him, and he like share he was playing this and he was very excited to announce this game, and I was like, wow, this is so good because right now I'm doing like some interesting like a literature, immersive literature prototype. When I saw this, because I had a lot of questions about VR or MR. The reason why I switched VR to MR was because first one I tried the Raven, I use VR experience. However, imagine the future it will be AR glass. I know in the future it won't be who will wear that chunky Quest 3 to go on the street and
Mm.
wear it every day. So my goal for scalability, yeah, marginal design is more like I need to do something that can scale for the future of AR glass. So I pretty much ditched the VR solution because if you see VR, I upload to SideQuest, it's around 1 GB, more than 1 GB, but I have to downgrade a lot of lighting, all the stuff I have to like baked or something. So it just costs too much file RAMs to do VR, and AR. It's hard to run in that big device, let
Hmm.
alone the small device. So I know that the 3D model, I need to cut it and make it kind of like a just enough. So for example, full size human, if I cut down to small size, the pixel will have, it's like a less vertex. It's
Hmm.
the file is smaller. So that's why I have to do small ones. So before I was thinking about tabletop game, but not many people has tables in real world. So I was thinking about floor game. Everybody just
Sure.
like a lay on the floor. However, when I saw this game, I was like, yeah, why not just create a big fake table? If you don't have table, you don't have to scan the room to find a table. So I
Hmm.
found this is so smart. And also, yeah, I actually start prototyping and look at the trailer of Civilization 7. And I start working on like I put a cylinder and I start making controller and make the people move. I think
Cool.
controller later on can be full hands, but now I think controller, I mean, it's just for the first prototype. And
Sure.
I really love like if you see the cylinder around it, it has a button so you can move the map. So I was thinking about, wow, this is pretty much full solutions for the future of
Hmm.
storytelling. Yeah, and today I also see like Apple, they have like NBA, like a kind of like a game and
Prototype version.
yeah, prototype version and like a small people running around. And then also there's like a big screen if you want to watch live and you can change the style of the little people running around. And those little people sometimes when you know you do a shot and then there will be like a data on top of that little person. So I
Hmm.
think, wow, this is much better than seeing like a 2D cropped. You don't really know who is who, and you can see from different angles, see the information that you want. Because 2D video will be constrained all the
Yeah.
views. So I think, yeah, that's probably the future of entertainment and also the game. So I think Civilization 7 is really give me an inspiration. I know I got a lot of inspired by that and wow, I was like, wow, all my question was solved.
Yep. And I think that's really important is the inspiration, being able to see, different things. Takes me to the last piece I'm going to cover, which is ATC or HTC Vive and Virtualware are creating an enterprise simulation lab in Berkeley, California. And this is going to be an opportunity to a permanent fixture that will be an opportunity to visualize some of these enterprise simulations and solutions that are available. One thing I think is a lot of people in the enterprise, kind of in the traditional enterprise sector, don't understand what's available from XR experiences. So this gives them a lab in which they can bring people in, have hands-on experience, and really feel what spatial adoption and awareness looks like for these different types of XR applications. It's also, a really nice partnership for them, and it's going to help drive things like XR training when you can see the efficiency that people can be trained through XR. It's really important, and then also helps workforce development. As you talk about some of the, things impacting the workforce today, retraining is going to be an important thing, and so this will be interesting to see how XR plays into that. It's also a global push, so that these XR applications can be used around the world, and I think it gives a really nice way for people who are interested in XR, particularly in an enterprise type of organization. This can bring IT leaders, it can bring legal leaders, people who want to understand more about XR and see how it's going to be a part of every business going forward, and so they need to start understanding this. And I think this lab gives a really great opportunity to do that.
Wow, that's very cool because I think by bringing more people and creating more like a XR types of like a prototype or like the apps for training or for data visualization, I think later on more and more people adapt. Yeah, then XR people can be handy, right? And everybody will get, either opportunity to grow and the opportunity to grow their, career and also project yeah, so I think I'm really happy to see more usage being used in the XR field. Okay, so for me, I want to share about uh, recently, yeah, you see since 2022, right? 2022, there were like a massive layoff and big company keep like doing this as a routine, right? No matter whether they are they are profiting or they losing money, they all use different words to start reducing their staff. But even though they reduce their staff, but they still want more people to work on something. So pretty much, you can see becomes hire to fire, fire to hire, right? So you can see this like a every 6 months or every year. There's always like a refreshing types of things. So I think before people treat talent, the reason why big tech has so many great perks, like for example, all the food are free, right? Your lunch and the food was great, amazing. It's like the very high quality, and also you got everything. You got like a lot of benefits. However, I can see everyone becomes contract more like a short term because you see like companies know that you everybody since all the work was become like a super tiny little section, everybody is replaceable basically. So if somebody in a giant company like Apple, like a Microsoft, they are there for 10, 15 years, their pay might be too high for what they do according to the C-suite people thinks. So I think this will be more like a short term of turnaround. And even though it says for example, like a raise the bar, right, performance based or any other reason, like oh we are restructured or something, but I think the core is that people are not as valuable as it used to be. And you see like a 2025, a lot of mid-level engineer well got so-called replaced, or AI can catch up the coding. I can tell you yesterday I was trying to do, just like you mentioned the Civilization 7, I was trying to do like the make the character, and I shoot somewhere, ray shooting somewhere, and that
Hmm.
ball was moving around. Oh, I was able to achieve, but just by giving the direction to ChatGPT o3. And then it comes up and I keep asking, how should I implement? And I was making it within one night. So I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a best coder. I'm probably in the middle. But for a person without a proper degree, proper training, to be able to achieve something, I would say, um, um, it requires a lot of time. I think it's a breakthrough of technology. So I think probably AI automation, and also big company knows that so you see, like a company, rather instead of investing on human, they rather lay off people and put those money to reinventing, more like investing the AI tools to later on automate. So I do see this as like a race game, right? And for the C-suite, for the people, the boss, they really happy to see, wow, my staff works so hard, like a Squid Game. They sit on the back and then they watch, like, wow, people fight so hard to work for me. And everybody was on the surface was really loyal to the company. It's great for the boss point of view, but for the people working there, the perspective shifts. It feels like a wow, like a I watched the movie 1984. Yeah, it's very similar. It's that it's always being watched, right, by whatever data you have. People, company can always access, and also like the weird mindset that you have to follow, right? So yeah, so it reminds me of that interesting things. I don't know what future will be, but I think for the sector, for big company, it will be. You know, you might go there and got kicked out and go there or go somewhere again. And from long term to short term, and it will go faster and faster. And the senior need to, just like it previous you mentioned, need to keep learning, keep improving. So it's not like you can get one job and work there forever, but it's more like you are always in demand. And if one company doesn't need you and there's other company needs you, I feel like the world is turning like this. I don't know about junior. I feel like I always tell junior, like college kids, like if you can born earlier, I think you don't have any problem. But you just born in this time that people requires, like even though they hire intern, they want like a 10 years of experience to get in. So
Yeah, rather than the 1984 perspective, which is a little dim, I'll say. I like to think about that it's releasing humans for human potential, right? Like automation will take there's a lot of things that automation can do that humans can do today, but there's a lot of things that humans still can do that automation can't do. And I think that really unlocks the potential for people to do next level work, if that makes sense. And I'm super excited about, how that's going to impact and unlock people's abilities to do really cool things. And I think to your point, people who embrace that and can say, "Hey, I'm going to change and I'm going to do new things." I think there'll be a lot of really great opportunities in the future.
yeah, and I think like ChatGPT and also like I right now when I work on anything, I open three chatbot. One is ChatGPT o three, the other one is DeepSeek, the other one is La something. It's the European, it's called La Chat.
Hmm.
Yeah, Mistral AI. So I open those three, and then for example, I am writing essays so for my master degree. So I usually open three and see which one is the best, and then elaborate it. And I usually use that to do the research. And for example, like I really don't like to find like an APA citation for all the citing stuff. So I asked ChatGPT to cite it for me. I feel like wow, this is so good because like before without those, it might take me very long time to write something that has very unique point. So I think human plus AI can come up with like a really productive work and with a lot of like really nice refine. So every time when I saw my essay, it's like I wrote like a something that really messy. But when I start putting my thoughts into like the essay and let ChatGPT to format it, rewrite it, I find out wow, I can come up with such a great work. I got amazed by those power. Yeah.
I think you bring up a really good point about the citation, right? Like it's an important and necessary piece, but if you only had 1,000 hours to work on your thesis and you had to devote back to resource management, you had to devote 40 hours just to the citation stuff because it takes a while to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is again, it's important and you need to do it. But if you can automate that and it only takes an hour now to do all of that, man, that's really great because that's another 39 hours that you can focus on the core content and the message that you're trying to spread. So I think it's a really good point. Good job.
Yeah, so I mean, I think before writing essays, I usually see my teacher, my professor said that, oh, please go to, I think the course probably was very old. So they suggest like every week you go to like the writing center to work in person because writing center only allow in person. Go
Hmm.
there, go to East Bay, and then book appointment with the writing teacher and make sure your citation is right. And
Yeah.
for me, I was like, if I use ChatGPT or I use like AI tools, I don't need to drive there, book appointment, and meet my writing teacher. And the teacher will start and cross out and say, "Oh, this is not right." And like having like a 1 hour conversation about one sentence. So I think it's save a lot of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other news was that AI Action Summit. Last time we mentioned a little bit about AI Summit in Paris, which was kind of like a very big event, and they also investing a lot of like startups, technologies, and gather a lot of global leaders. So yeah, so here's the kind of like summary for it. They will allocate 150 like $1 billion for AI champions. I think it's a French dollar. What's the French dollar say? Like a
Frank?
franc. Okay, franc. Thank you. So yeah, so they are investing a lot of money to or like a euro. I think a euro. I don't know. It's like it's not dollars. So Europe can seize a generation opportunity by leading in applied AI, integrating it into our industrial base to boost productivity, resilience, and economic severage. So I think right now, European, before we always think that American create, European kind of do a lot of regulation, and Chinese or Asian people are more copy. For the entire technology, I would say innovation is pretty much like that. But I think at this time, Europe wanna take the lead. And according to what I saw the news is that they have, for example, AI in defense, right? And AI for all the innovation, they invest, for example, education. They put allocate a lot of money, and I think before the AI action in Paris, they also kind of asking for projects to get funded. So like education or like a science research. However, for example, like I even see tons of ideas flowing. However, a lot of people feel disappointed to see like, oh, there are not many security, personal private data being, like a regulation part. And our Vice President JD Vance even mentioned that that's just not putting too many regulations, and let's just do it so we can fully speed up. And for me, it's like, wow, that's good because if you see on Doge, uh, like they have like a tons of regulation that block like a innovation. You will feel like, wow, that's actually pretty good. However, I would say that it might take a couple of regulation to just regulate. It's like we don't want too many of them, but we still have some basic we need to regulate to protect people. So I feel like everything just go to another, like before it was too many, and now we cut everything. Feel like maybe something in the middle will be better. Yeah.
It's like Goldilocks. It's too hot or too cold, and that one's just right. And I think it's to your point. It's finding the right balance of regulation and innovation.
Yeah, yeah. And the other one, the last one, I want to share that artificial intelligence is becoming better than human at scanning animals' face for the sign of stress and pain and more complex emotion detection. So there were a couple of science institution, including universities. They were team up together to kind of like put some computer vision scanning to scan, for example, pigs' face, and also dog's face, horse face, and to see, for example, like they put a lot of dots to censoring their ears, their eyes, their nose, and their mouths, like a lot of different dots. And when they feel stress, there's a certain kind of patterns for those muscles to move. So by detecting your face, they can like a very accurate to predict or like to read from the facial expression. I think it reminds me of like China. If you see in China, they have like some cameras for like the kids in school in the classroom. So, and I know this types of technology was applied in Europe as well, North Europe. So teacher later on can read a report from the security camera and the AI to see, oh, this student was not concentrate for how many minutes or concentrate in how many minutes. And this student was not, because you have nowhere to hide. So I don't know about like all those like data exposure, and especially for human, we have white lies, right? We wanna say something that is not really what we meant, but yeah, but those will be precisely detected by the AI technology. I feel like because recently I got like a writing an essay about like oh data privacy issue about like the remote learning e-learning technology to educator. I put data privacy at the end and I said there's no data privacy actually because if I saw there's an e-learning tools AI powered by ChatGPT, I know there's no privacy, even though they keep saying that they are following privacy or like it, and all the data AI tools that the small startups or the government, even you see like a IRS, right? Doge is trying to get all the IRS kind of data implement in a black box called AI. So everybody's financial information will go somewhere that under somebody's business. So yeah, I don't know. Do we really have a privacy?
Well, I think there should be some assumption of privacy. I think the model you outlined earlier, where people have control over the question is how much control will people take? The GDPR regulations that everybody has to, define how you're using the data and give people the opportunity to opt out and all of those things. Most of the time when I get a pop up, I just say accept all. Like I'm if it's something I'm doing, I literally don't spend the time to go brain power to go through, hey, what do I want to this site to do or not do? So I think there's like a cognitive overload or cognitive load that's involved in that to understand what does it mean if I say, yeah, you can have this. The other thing when you talk about facial expressions is really interesting. I know that there's been some laws in the US where like police have used trash that gets put out in the curb to do like they'll extract things and use do a DNA test on it. And there's an assumption that when you put it out in the public that it's no longer your private information, even though it's inside a trash bag, right? So how does that match with facial expressions and what can be used? I think there's a lot of really great things. I think the school example's a really great one. Like if you could know which, as a teacher, you could know which students seemed confused, didn't understand the assignment, and you could spend extra time with them. Wow, that would be a really useful tool. So, again, it's balance. I think we're in this interesting time where, to your point, there's a lot of rapid change, and people are going to get things wrong sometimes, and we're going to need to correct. But finding that balance between privacy and utility, I think, is going to be an important balance to strike.
Yeah, and I think the importance of understanding it's like the kind of critical thinking for us to know what to do. Because I think right now I read a news today. It says that AI is rewriting the information on the internet. And I think it's true because it's writing my essay, even though I have my inputs in, but it's kind of writing it, making it better. But there will be some wording was not exactly what I meant. But when I saw it, I was like, it's fine. It's not like what I meant originally, but it's fine. So you can see the AI start morphing or changing or start having some influence on our culture or on our news. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. A lot of the data that's been used to train some of these large models is just from the internet. People have been posting all kinds of content on the internet, and there's all kinds of access on the internet. But as AI tools become valuable and more I'll say pervasive in people's workflows, I won't go to a website and go find that information. I'll just go to Chat GPT or whatever the AI tool is of choice. So if
Yeah.
I'm not creating new content in that way, what is the new source of content? Like
Mm.
how will new things, previously it was books and then it was, the internet. What will the new source be and how will we distinguish what's been human created versus what's been uh, bot created, and how do we validate that it's correct?
Yeah, that's so true. So that's why I find out that people who know how to read, before we think this is a normal skill, but you can see right now people don't read. Yeah, I mean, so people with actual reading book skills will be super valuable, or can read a very long text format
Hmm.
will be super valuable because they can have original understanding of the first-hand source and then think instead of trying to get ChatGPT to get all the answers. And I think the more we use ChatGPT or AI tools, the less we are offload the cognitive learning thinking to the AI, and we will think less. AI will train more. So this is a very interesting era. And also, I was thinking about, like, for example, K-12 education versus high education. It's very different. High education, people usually has the foundation. So using AI tools is great. But if you let a super, yeah, just like you mentioned that your kid said that, why should I learn math, right? So there's a kind of like a weird thing that if people don't really understand the basic and they just want to use AI to overload their learning, is that really good? I don't know. I'm just leave it open. We can definitely utilize it to teach, but you can also skip it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, any other news or any things you want to mention?
No, I don't think so. I think it's been a good discussion.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I will see you and everybody next week. Bye bye.
Bye.